Hello, and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 533. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, distrusting of whether or not this thing is actually recording.
We're recording on my MacBook at my house. Hopefully there will not be an echo, because Leslie's computer died yesterday when we went to record.
Yep.
So
I know the past couple episodes have had spots of echoing, like it comes and goes, and there's no logical reason. I can't figure out why, which is super fun. And once you get an echo in a video clip, it is basically impossible to remove it, unless you buy specific, specialized, expensive tool that all it does is remove echo.
Oh, really?
Like $400.
Oh.
You know, and I'm just not willing to do that. So,
It seems super expensive.
For something that I might use a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're at Laura's because I bought a new microphone, hoping that might, with a filter and hoping that would help. And as I was getting it set up, I was like, now watch, I'll get all this set up and my computer won't work. And yeah,
sure enough.
The blue screen of death.
Sure enough.
So Michael's working on that, but until then, we're here recording. And we've done it here before without echo issues, so
hopefully it'll be okay.
I should probably turn off that fan, though.
And Pearl's right here, too.
Yeah.
And Leslie's created a little pillow fort on my...
Yeah. Because
ouch.
I am old and achy and need back support, and there's just nothing I can do about that. I mean, there probably is. I could lose 100 pounds, but there's nothing I can do about that this minute.
This second.
So.
All right. Do you want to talk about what you're working on first, or do you want me to talk about what I'm working on?
I've been talking already. So.
Okay. So I took a wonderful class with Jillian Marino 2 weekends ago and then last weekend, and it was all about spinning for specific projects. It was through Stitches at Home and sampling, and so I decided that I wanted to spin for the Flax Light, which is a tin can knits pattern, and it is knit in the round with some garter stitch. And I decided I have these patchwork kits from Hello Yarn. I have 2 of them. And so I wanted to combine them in a way that would work for this project. So I sampled. I spun around an ounce and got around 150 yards from that ounce. And when I plied it, I very lightly plied it because I wanted this to have more drape. But actually, as I'm knitting it, I'm noticing that I'm taking a lot of the ply twist out. So I'm probably going to add a little bit more ply twist when I spin for my actual project. But I am knitting a swatch in the form of a hat because this sweater is knit in the round. I wanted to also swatch in the round, but I also wanted to spend a little bit more time with this fabric because it is hand spun than I normally do when I swatch. So I am knitting a little toddler-sized hat and just going round and round and round. There's no pattern. I just cast on a bunch of stitches in order to get around 14 inches wide, and I'm just going round and round and round. So this is what it's looking like so far. I cast on with size 2 needles, and I just took a whole bunch of stitches off the needle. Oh, yes. I cast on with size 2 needles for the ribbing, and then I'm magic looping on size 4s for the actual body of the hat. So yeah, I like the 2-ply marled look. I'm pretty down with that, so I think I want to keep it as a 2-ply. It's not as squishy as I would like, so that's when adding more twist might come into play. So less drape, more squish, more twist. So that is the first thing on my needles. The second thing on my needles is a sweater. It is the Tin Can Knits Barley sweater. Barley? No. Harvest, thank you. It's from the Simple collection. Barley is the hat, I think.
Yeah.
And Flex is the pullover, so this is the cardigan. And I have it almost to the sleeve divide. Something looked weird on the camera. It's being knit out of Camilla Fiber Company pepper base. It's a worsted base. It's got this gray with black, like every once in a while a single ply of black. So I think it's pretty cool. and I'm knitting that on size 7s. So hopefully I will get that to the sleeve divide by the next time I see y'all. So that is the second project on my needles, and this is what it looks like, the yarn looks like in the cake. So you can see every once in a while there's that single, it's a 2-ply, and there's that single ply of black, and then it goes back to gray. So I think it's super cool. And then the last, I have 2 more things. I didn't really knit on my Knit Spin Farm socks this week, but I did knit on my cowl out of Sealy McWheely mini skeins that I'm just kind of knitting around and around. So I got all the way through this color, that gray. I think that was Marvin the Martian.
Marvin something. It's not the Martian.
Yeah, Marvin the Martian something else.
He's
the robot guy.
No, he lives on Mars. He's a Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny.
but this is the robot guy. From Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I need more caffeine in my day. So through that gray, and so I have the choice of which of these 3 to do next. So I'm trying to decide which of the 3 that I want to do next. Yeah.
I would probably not do that one. I would do one of these 2. They're richer.
Yeah.
But, well, that's just because I prefer those 2 to the other one. But.
Oh, really? See, I don't like the middle one, but I like the 2 on either side. So yeah, I'll just have to play with it. I'm probably going to stripe this section with the blue, because I have a good bit of that blue left. And I'm going to go round and round. So I got from that up to there. So like 1.5 inches of going round and round and round. On size 4 needles. And then...
Oh, I touched her paws.
Oh, she jumps like you had done something very mean to her. The last thing that I'm working on is a sock.
Also, we're doing this without show notes because it doesn't work well when we do it here. We have to have the whole thing up so we can see what you can see.
Yeah.
So we'll forget something, undoubtedly.
The last thing I'm working on is, now that you said that, I totally will forget. This is Into the World. Handbags at Dawn. It was cranked into a sock tube. And when I do my sock tubes, I typically do the ribbing first. And we had a question on the Ravelry board about doing measurements on sock tubes for heels. And what I do is, and there's 2 different ways of doing this. I always do the ribbing first. And then what you can do is place your heel where you think you want your heel to be, knit your heel, and then either rip back or knit down for more length on the foot. Or what I tend to do is I knit my toes and then I measure. So I know that my heels typically take up around 2 inches. And so my foot is 10 inches long. I measure up 8 inches. And that's where I place my heel. Now your heel is going to differ depending on your gauge, the size of it. But if you knit your toes, typically an afterthought heel is the length of a toe plus like 4 rounds.
Yeah, that's how I do it, is I measure the toe after I've knit it, and then I give it about a 1/2 inch buffer and, measure backwards and put the heel in.
Yeah. But, that's it for me. What have you been working on?
Knitting-wise, I didn't even bring the cardigan. So I'm working on the Chance of Showers cardigan by Heidi Kermayer, I think.
Yeah.
It's out of the Eden 3-ply from Carol Sunday's yarn line Sunday Knits, which is a beautiful wool and spun yarn. I messed up on the lace about 7 rows back from where I am, so I put it down because I kind of wanted to take a pair of scissors to it. So I just put it away.
So it's in timeout for a little bit. I'll rip it back for you.
I'll get it back. I mean, I'll get back to it. I wasn't in the best frame of mind to be dealing with that problem. So I needed something stupid simple. So I cast on a sock out of some yarn I had in my stash. This is String Theory.
Oh, I love her yarns.
Colorworks in the Orbit base, which is a sport weight base, and this is the Resistor colorway. And I wanted to knit socks with an afterthought heel for my son, who Oh, man. Sorry. Dropped my needle.
Your needle?
Of course, it wouldn't just roll outward. It had to go underneath me. My son, who is 18 and wears a size 13 foot, wears a size 13
But those
foot.
aren't afterthought heels. Those are...
heel flap is what I meant, sorry. We've been talking about afterthought heels.
We have been.
So the only socks I've knit him have afterthought heels. And while those fit fine, he tends to wear his for several days at a time, and they'll end up sliding under on his foot. So I wanted to try heel flap socks, but I wasn't willing to knit fingering weight to a size 13, at least not at this point in my life, maybe one day. So I cast on just a simple sport weight sock. I did about maybe a 4.5 inch ribbed cuff, and then a simple heel flap.
I like that a lot.
I'm reducing down at the toe now. I will say I've used for years the Heels by the Numbers page.
I don't know what that is.
So there's a website called Heels by the Number or something, and it's got a chart where you can say, okay, I've got 72 stitches on the needle, which means for my heel I'll use 36 of them.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do a short row heel or like a flap and gusset heel, I need to knit this many before I start doing a knit 2 together, knit 1, turn, and then
like 18 or
turning
whatever,
the heel.
yeah.
So it's got numbers for turning the heel. And for some reason I can't find it anymore.
Huh.
I don't know if whoever hosted it isn't hosting it anymore or what.
So Wendy Knits has all the numbers on a chart on hers, including top down with heel flap.
I'll have to look. This was the one I found, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I've just been using it ever since. But yeah, so this is sock number 1. For once, it is not Knit Spin Farm. It's because I'm very greedy about my Knit Spin Farm.
Yeah. It's Target. It's a different base.
Yeah.
So is that a merino nylon base? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll hold up better to his need for destruction when it comes to hand knits. He just wears them until they fall apart. So that's sock number 1. I'll be finished with that before we're done recording, and we'll cast on for sock number 2.
And you're knitting those on DPNs.
Yeah, I'm knitting my socks on a larger size needle than you're knitting your hat. These are 3, US 3, so I think they're 3.25.
I'm knitting these on 4s, so.
Oh, you said 2s earlier.
No, that's the ribbing.
That's all I heard. I stopped listening at that point, apparently.
Apparently. Hey, your socks match my shirt. Boom.
Oh, this is SSK.
Yeah, we're both
2019.
swagging it today.
Unintentional.
There's no 2020 or 2021.
We have a lot of SSK
Unfortunately.
gear between the two of us.
We do.
The only other thing I've been sort of working on is some Sachiko. So occasionally at SSK, we'll have one of our attendees will be kind and will bring us a gift. Totally not necessary, but there's some people that just do that.
They're super kind.
And this one came from Tish, who is Godzilla. And I love Tish. She always
it's narwhals.
gives like a really brilliant, funny thing. But yeah, so she gave me this bag, right? And it's got like steampunk octopi and narwhals and stuff.
I like their little top hats.
And it had like a little Sachiko sampler in it.
Oh, cool.
So and this was probably 2017 or 18, I don't remember which. So I've been working on it, and this is where I am.
Looks really good. What are you going to do with it when you're done?
I don't know, frame it, or like...
I think it would be pretty framed.
A lot of people turn it into a pillow because it's got, the
double
two sides.
layers.
But my dogs would just tear it up, so I'm not going to do that. But, so I'm on this little section with all the flowery
It's really
bits.
pretty.
I was holding it upside down and not even paying attention. Yeah, I'm into Sachiko because you don't need you need a long needle and the thread, and that's it. Like, you don't need a hoop. You don't need, like, this Q-snap frame. That's all you need so I can take this out and work in the hammock and just sit and listen to an audiobook and do this, and it makes me happy. So, and I ordered a couple of larger Sachiko panels from an Etsy shop that Jillian Marino told us about.
Oh, yeah.
And I sort of got hooked on it. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I do not have, well, I don't have any, well, yeah, I do have a finished object, but I don't have it here. So through the magic
I
of
was gonna
technology,
say, you
I'll
have
put
that
it in here.
giant blanket.
Yes, so I have the Granny
Granny
Goes
goes
Large.
large.
And so it's just a giant granny square, alternating every row solid gray with a bunch of other colors, 16 other colors. Finally finished it this week. It's too big. I didn't feel like bringing it here, so I didn't. But I'll put in pictures.
I have to drag out all my stuff to Leslie's house. That's all I'm saying.
Have you ever dragged something that is 7,000 plus yards to my house?
I don't know.
Because that's what this is. Like, I hit 7K. Well, I didn't technically hit 7K because it's 6,800 meters. But
ooh, I'm gonna have to do some crafting to catch up to you.
Very close to 7K already with Stash Dash.
Wow, go you.
I mean, to be fair, I've been working on that blanket for a few months, so Laura's thing like a few years. But
I was. Feels like forever.
Yeah, so I'll put the pictures in here. I still don't know who I'm going to give it to. I have no idea.
It's lovely,
I'll put it in the bin, and it'll go to somebody.
Yeah.
And then I have some sewing stuff I'll talk about later.
Okay. I have one finished object, and you guys have actually already seen it. And it's just a completed. I blocked the Twinkle Twinkle blanket, and it's getting mailed to its new home tomorrow. So I wanted to show it to you guys one last time, all blocked and pretty.
Isn't it for a local person? You're not taking it by?
No, she had her baby, and I'm not gonna...
Well, I just mean like you could put it on her porch or something.
Yeah, no, she's northern Memphis.
Oh.
So, I'm not. I'm just gonna mail it. She asked if I would mail it, so I'm not gonna go to someone's house. They asked me to mail it. I don't know.
I didn't know that part when I said that.
But yeah. So that is done and blocked, and I will mail it out tomorrow. It is out of Volmisa Limon in the DK base, and it took around almost 2 skeins. I had a skein and a half, but I ran out on the border. So yeah, that will be going to its new home. Hopefully it'll get there.
So how many did you finish that before?
Oh yeah, I finished that before. I'm only at 1,000 yards for Stash Dash.
I mean, we're not a week into it, so that's not like a bad...
No, and I actually, I don't have anything to show y'all that I spun, that's a lie. So my spinning for this counted towards Stash Dash, because I applied it that Friday morning. So this was 150 yards times 2, because it's a 2-ply, so like 250 meters. And I've done some other applying today, but it still needs its bath before I'm going to show you guys. So I'm around 1K right now, which is not too bad. But yeah, that is my finished object. I do have some spinning, unless you want to talk about your sewing.
No, I'll do it after, but I did just want to say about Stash Dash. As we mentioned before, we're hosting it on Discord this year, and it is only a competition against you. Yep. You are not competing against Laura. You'll lose. She's crazy. It's just a competition against yourself. So set whatever goal you think is reasonable, and if you don't meet it, who cares? It's just crafting.
Yep, that is very true. So I decided to do some things that do not count for Stash Dash this week. I decided to wash a fleece.
A huge fleece.
Yeah, 4-pound fleece. And it is a Cordale fleece, and these are some locks after they've been washed. I'm just going to flick these open on both sides. So the way I plan on doing that as of right now is I'm going to give each lock a little twist. I'll use a flicker and flick open, and then the same for the other side. And then I'll just spin it straight onto the wheel. That was a little... Usually I just do like 1 to 2 locks at a time. That was like 4 locks. So that's a little bit more than what I would do. And what that does is it opens these tips that are still a little bit dirty and flattened. You can tell that this fleece was coated because the tips actually go at an angle.
Yeah. So that's where the wool has grown up and hit up against the
little coat.
The coat, which is like a cloth. Like
and these are the buttons right down here where it was actually shaved. So if I was to get shortcuts, which I've picked all those out before washing, that's where they would be. I wash my fleeces using Unicorn Power Scour. It works really, really well. This one was a very clean fleece, so I just gave it 2 washes in the Eucalyptus Power Scour and 2 rinses. And
Unicorn, not Eucalyptus. Right?
I'm sorry, Unicorn. That is correct. Unicorn Power Scour.
Eucalyptus also has.
They do have a washing
Yeah.
thing. It uses. Oh, what is that smell?
Lavender.
No, tea tree oil, I think, is in it.
Or maybe it's their soap that uses the lavender.
Yeah, it could be. I think.
I actually don't like the smell of lavender, so I tend not to use products that use lavender.
And then my finished spinning object is 2 bats that I spun from Knit Spin Farm and then plied together into a 2-ply. I got 400 yards of a 2-ply.
These were the same bats, right?
This is the same, yep. This was, I think, the March Club. Leslie took 2 bats the month before, so I kept these 2 bats because also they're purple.
Yeah.
And this is a smidge of silk, 75% Falkland and 25% Shropshire, which I had never spun before and really enjoyed. I really enjoy long drawing bats. This will be a Tiffany Lynn cowl that I've had my eyes on. So yeah, I'm super excited to get to knitting that eventually. Those are staying with me. I do love, these were spun long draw and they're a woolen prep. So they're nice and woolen and squishy. I do love a woolen. Yeah. So that is what I've been working on when it comes to spinning and fleece processing.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about your sewing now?
Sure. Sorry, I'm very busy petting the dog.
Come here, Pearl. Come on this side. She's like, how can I knock this over?
So I've been working on the OTIS overalls for a couple weeks. There was several days where my machine was out of commission, getting serviced. So I've wanted to make it since it came out, and then I saw Amy Beth's video just about tips and tricks and what she did when she made hers because she was a test sewer. Some of the things I probably should have listened to a little better. Because when I messaged her afterwards, she was like, yeah, in my video I talked about how I did this instead of this. So I finished the OTIS overalls, and through the magic of technology, I'll put some pictures here.
That Pearl and I are going to take outside later.
Yeah. I don't have any pictures yet because I don't ask my husband or my son to take pictures of me because they suck at taking pictures.
Do they?
So... these have been washed, but they haven't been pressed again since they've been washed, clearly. So this is the finished product.
Do you need a hand or you got it?
So this is the front. Sorry, it is kind of wrinkled. This is the front, and it's got a divided pocket up here. This is like a twill. It's kind of like a heavy twill. It's not quite a denim weight.
It reminds me of, like, cargo pant material.
Maybe, yeah.
Like the harder core, like...
It's not not quite that thick. You're feeling 2 layers and interfacing back here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
let me touch your boob while I do that, too.
Wouldn't be the first time. So there's divided pockets here in the front. There's also inset pockets here. All the seams are flat felled, which is basically just a fancy term for French seaming it and then tacking down the French seam. I mean, it worked well, and it was something I hadn't done before. So it has a very dropped crotch, and that's intentional because when you're in overalls, you need a little bit of space for when you like sit down or lean down or whatever. Yeah. It can vary greatly. So again, the pictures will show this better, but a couple of modifications that I did, and one that I wish I had done. So, the overalls don't have any kind of fastener for the straps. So they're sewn in to the top of the bib, and then they're sewn into the back crosswise. So I added a little bit of white elastic here so that I could get a little bit of stretch, and it wouldn't be as hard to get the straps over my head. Which is good, and that worked out fine. I just fed it through the hollow tube and then fastened it down. The other modification that I made was on, I didn't even see that until just now. I'm going to have to fix that. So the other modification that I made was when you're all done, one of the last steps is the bibs interfacing, or facing, sorry. So this is the facing, this fabric that you can see, and you can do it in a different like fabric if you wanted. I just kept it all the same just to be simple. The facing, she tells you not to sew it down when you're done because it'll mess up the lines, like the look of it on the front. And you're supposed to do a catch stitch to, it's basically like a very tiny hand stitch that would tack it down. But I couldn't do it in such a way with this fabric that it wasn't very obvious. So what I instead did was I went and got some Wonder Under, which is just a fusible, a double-sided sticky fusible, and fused this to the front. And I like that because now it's secure not just here, but it's secure throughout the whole.
I like that too. I think that's a good idea.
The whole thing.
You got a spot.
Yeah, it's the machine. When it got serviced, the guy left a little bit of grease right up by the sewing needle. I had like a dozen spots, so I just have to put some stain remover on it, and it'll come out. So the only thing that I didn't do that I wish I had done that I somehow missed it in Amy Beth's video is the back has got these ties. So this this sits right over the top of your butt. So imagine my butt here.
Pearl came running when you said butt.
That's a good episode title. So the ties are tacked down at the side, and the idea is that you get a little bit more fit to the body by pulling, the ties once you've got it on your body. You can sort of tighten it up a little bit so it fits better. And there's nothing wrong with that principle. The problem is that in order to do that, you have to essentially you sew the straps together, right sides together, and then you have to flip it inside out. I think I talked about this already, but huge pain in the butt.
Yeah. Because
it was so narrow. Not because I didn't sew a ribbon or use a safety pin or whatever. I'm familiar with the way that you can flip stuff out, but it was just too narrow. That's the problem for this thick of a fabric. So when I complained to Amy Beth, she's like, oh yeah, I ended up just using twill tape.
Which is smart.
But
or bias tape could also
That's
work.
what Jess did.
Yeah.
She ended up just essentially making it like bias binding, but just fastening it down to itself. And that worked a lot better. So if I were to do it in the future,
you should make another pair. I think you'll like
fabric,
those.
I mean, yeah, the process isn't terribly difficult. There's just a lot of steps.
Yeah.
So that's item number one. And I'm happy with it. I mean, they're big on me, which is exactly what I went for. I measured for my own size and then sort of went up about a half a size because I wanted room.
Yeah. Especially since there's not fastenings and you have to pull and do give and stuff.
So the second thing I made was from Jacqueline Cieselak's Embody book.
Yeah.
And this is the wool fork. It can be a top, it can be a tunic, it can be a dress.
But you did the dress?
It can have sleeves or not sleeves. I made the dress, and this is out of some double gauze that I got on sale at Joann's. So
I like it. I think it's a cool fabric.
Yeah, it is a cool fabric, but pro tip, you should really press it well because double gauze is essentially 2 layers of fabric.
Okay.
That are, I don't know who's calling me. 2 layers of fabric, and they're independent of each other.
Okay.
And if you don't press it super well, everything shifts.
Oh.
And it shifts a lot.
Oh.
So my pockets are at 2 different heights.
Oh, that's okay. It's an asymmetrical look.
Yeah, again, pictures we'll put in.
Yeah.
But it is...
it seems like it's going to be very wearable, though.
It's a cocoon hem, so it's very long at the sides, and then it comes up around the knees in the middle. It's got faced or whatever this is. I forget what it's called. Anyway, it's got a nicely finished neckline. The one thing that I changed was it had you cut the front and the back like into two pieces right down the middle, like when you're cutting the fabric. And I was like,
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I don't want an extra seam. I'm just going to cut it on the fold. And then when I tried it on after, the neckline was really wide. And I was like, why is this so wide? It's not so wide in the pictures. And it's because when
you pull it in.
Yeah, you have to seam it, and it brings it in like almost 2 inches. I mean, it's still wearable. It's just wider than I expected it to be. And, you know, I could...
Lesson learned.
I could fix it after the fact by measuring
a dart.
And then essentially doing like a French seam. Like, I would tuck it in like this.
Gotcha.
And then tack it down like that. And I might. I don't know. I haven't decided. It's so hilariously wrong in a lot of ways, but that doesn't bother me. Like, I made it. I didn't buy it from the store.
Yeah, it'll be comfortable to wear around.
So, yeah, and I'll definitely make another one. Probably I'll do a tunic length, and I'll do it without sleeves.
Yes, I'm always wanting tunics, by the way. They're hard to buy right now, for some reason.
Well, for your tall frame, too.
That's also true.
But yeah, I'm happy with it. Learned some things, made some mistakes.
Good.
That's okay.
It's all a learning process. Maybe they'll bring back... Maybe they'll do the Great American Sewing Bee, and you can be
awesome.
on it. Be fun.
I don't want to be on it. I just want to, like...
Watch it?
Watch it, yeah.
I think it'll be cool.
What have you been reading?
I went back to Alana Andrews' Andrea and Raphael's story.
Gun something.
Guns and Magic, something like that.
Yeah.
Gunmetal Magic.
Gunmetal Magic, there you go.
And I've been listening to that. I've been watching Queens of Murder and
That's a
Murder
British.
is My Life.
Okay.
Both of which are on Acorn. Both of which are like murder mysteries. The Queens of Mystery or Queens of Murder, I can't remember which one it is now, is narrated like that old TV show where he owns the pie shop and they can't kiss. Such a good show. I don't know. Anyway, it's got a narrator that runs throughout it that I really like.
He owns a pie shop and they can't kiss. Who is they?
Like him and this girl that he's in love with. And the lady from Wicked's in it. The blonde one. Anyway.
Kristen Chenoweth?
Yeah. Everyone's yelling at the screen right now.
I have no freaking idea what you're talking about.
It's a good... there's knitting in that show, too. It's a good show. But anyway. Yeah, so I've been rewatching... Well, I'm watching for the first time Murder is My Life, which has Lucy Lawless, and I'm enjoying it.
She was in Parks and Rec? I think I already mentioned that.
You mentioned it to me, for sure. But yeah, that's what I've been doing more than reading. I've been doing a lot of fleece washing, so like I'm up every 20 to 25 minutes. So because of that, I haven't been able to really like get into a flow of stuff. Like I just, in between, I've been sitting and playing games and stuff like that.
Touching your paw.
Messing with my dog. I made her into a puppy burrito last night. But yeah, what have you been reading?
I'm rereading The Princess Knight, which is the second in the Blacksmith Queens series by G.A. Aiken.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a new one coming out soon.
I don't know. I got a new book like downloaded to my Kindle, like something I had pre-ordered, and for some reason I thought it was the next book in that series without even going back to check. So I decided I would reread the second one.
Oh,
but it's the new one's not out, so I have to go back and look and see what it was that I downloaded.
Oh, come here, bro. Come here.
So I've been reading that.
Thank you for being a good protector.
I've been listening to a series that it's a saga, I guess, that I've listened to before by Hugh Howey. It's the Silo Saga. So the first um, 5 books. So each series has 5 like novellas.
Okay.
So each one's like 16-ish hours total. Like total, a section of 5 books is about 16 hours. So the first series is called Wool. The second series is called Shift, and the third series is called Sand. So I'm almost done with the second one. So I've done like 30 hours of listening in the past week. Because I'll do that, when I'm outside sitting in the hammock or when I'm sewing or whatever. I'll listen to an audiobook. I can't be alone with my thoughts. That's when the voices start. Let's see. So I've been listening to that. We had a listening party for the new episode of My Dad Wrote It Down.
We haven't listened to the second one though. Yeah.
Yeah. We listen with our friend Sarah and with
Pearl just found her ball.
Yeah. So we have to make it work across 6 time. Well, there's 6 time zones between us and Amy. So yeah. But that's about it. That's all that I can think of really that I've been working on.
Stash is going on that platform. Discord. And it's been going really well. I've enjoyed chatting with everyone over there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Pearl is being extra needy, y'all.
Very demanding. We're here, and she should be getting petted, even though it's knit night in an hour, and so she'll be getting all the pets that she wants.
Yep, all our knit nights vaccinated, so we spread out across my house and talk. But yeah, I think that's about it. We will talk to y'all later. Hopefully the quality on this was not too terrible.
Yeah.
And have a good rest of y'all's week.
Yeah. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all. Bye.